All right, what's up, YouTube? So I left my job. If you are in my close group of friends, you probably already know this. If you know me or even know me the past 5 years, you guys would have known how much I loved my job and how hard for me to make this decision just because of how passionate I was about it. And I always thought like, hey, this is my future. This is where I'm going to be. I'm here where I'm at. I put my 2 weeks in, and tomorrow will be my last day. And so, yeah, so this is where I'm at. I will be teaching, and I'm super excited, super nerve-wracking, but I'm excited just because it's new. It's brand new, and I just want to make sure that I do it right. And I know probably this is me trying to be perfect or anything like that, but I just don't want to suck at it. You know, that's just one thing. It sucks to suck, and I don't want to suck at it. I'm gonna go into teaching, and I'm super excited about it. The reason why I'm making this video is because whenever I was looking for different searches, I was trying to find something that fit me or something that might answer my questions, and I didn't find that wasn't out there. There was some things that were kind of close to it, but nothing that was directly right in my alley, you know, something that I could like, oh hey, like yeah, like that's what I'm looking for, that's what I'm needing. I would always have to kind of see like, okay, I'm gonna watch this video, and this will probably, I could probably do this, I could use this, but nothing that would like that was for me. And that's basically what I'm doing is hopefully I can help somebody who might have the same questions, or trying to get to the same answers like that I was. How I got started was I did a lot of research, and my wife will tell you this, before I do anything, before I get into a hobby, before I look into something, I do a lot of research. I put hours of research, it just even into something dumb, like maybe like a gardening hobby that I picked up. You know, I just do hours and hours of research before I actually invest into it. I was like, okay, cool, I live vicariously through the video, I'm done. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I want to do this would be cool. Yes, I did a lot of research before I got into it. One institute, I guess you would call, or just like an ACP, I can't remember what it stands for, accredited something certificate, I don't know. I'll put it what it actually means down below right here. I found a few of them. I won't go into details, but there was one that really stuck out, one that people really raved about, one who I feel like I can trust. You know, like you want the best, right? So if you're gonna put it on your resume, you want the best. And so one thing that I put, the one that I found was Texas Teacher. There were some other ones that I found. One particular was kind of shady and really shifty, but like I said, do your research. If you find multiples, just do your research and just find the one that you like the most. Texas Teacher was the one that I wanted, and I did it. I saw a lot of good reviews about it, and my experience overall is great. So just do your research. Some pros and cons. Pros, you know, just helpful. You know, they answer my questions, you know, whenever I get to talk to them, and you know, I call them and say, hey, you know, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to go into. So I just really like just everything about them, and just kind of, you know, the things that they have to offer. Some of the cons, you know, if you're somebody who needs their hand held, they're probably not, at this moment, they're probably not the best fit, just because of the pandemic, just because they, you know, I'm assuming they had to cut staff, and then just recently they had this huge influx of applicants to come in, and so now they have to kind of respond to that with the amount of employees that they have. But you know, they sent out an email, said, hey, we've heard y'all guys, we're responding to it. I could be wrong, but I saw something along the lines that they got like a different building or something, a different area for the new hires that they have, and they're training their new hires, getting everybody trained up to take care of people. I've seen some people saying, hey, I've gotten some phone calls answered, I've gotten some emails answered. They're doing it. The only reason why I would need to call them is like, hey, I need access to this and you guys need to unlock it for me. Anything else that you can pretty much Google, or there's like a Facebook group too, you can ask and somebody's been through it. You can just say, oh, hey, like, I don't know this. How do I go about this? If you can do the research, if you can find it, it's the internet, it's Google, 2021. I'm not saying like it's bad. I haven't had a bad experience. Yeah, maybe sometimes I was kind of on the phone a little bit longer than I want to, but other than that, like, I'm flowing, I'm rocking through it. If I can't handle that, then probably teaching wouldn't be something, for me. So it's not always gonna be easy, and I'm just not because it's easy, I'm just gonna do something. I like to be challenged. So you first go and then you apply. It's super basic from what I recall. Just kind of need your name, your email, your phone number, and they kind of get with you and they're like, okay, hey, we need your transcript. So I went to my university, and the way I went on there, it was super easy for my university that I went to. I told them like, hey, this is where I need my transcript to go. I think from when I told them like, hey, I need you to send my transcript, I think within 2 weeks, Texas teachers are like, oh, hey, we got your transcript, here's this, you are eligible to take these exams. Because I have a science background, they approved a lot of these science content exams. So there is the 2 weeks wait, so there's that. So just be patient with all this. Then you have to do 3 things, right? The first thing, and you don't have to do them in any order. The first thing you have to do is, well, what I would suggest you to do is find the content that you want to study, right? Try to find one that, in my experience, try to find one that you could be more marketable, right? Science is a marketable one. And I believe social studies is a desired one. So if you can do those things, do that. Try to see what makes you more competitive. Take the content exams, study for those exams. And by the way, Texas teachers are not paying me. And then also too, one thing that I used to study my contents are 240. I'm okay with 240. I don't have any issues. There's some people who say they don't like it, and there's some people that say they do. There's other options. Like I said, do your research, kind of find what fits for you. So after you take your content exam, the second thing that you might want to do, and especially if you're watching this video before October, don't quote me on this, but before October 2021, if you're watching this before October 21 and you think that you want to be a teacher, I would suggest doing your observations as soon as you can. Just because right now you can do all 30 of your observation hours online. For me, it was awesome because I did all my stuff during the summer, so I didn't have to like come home, shower, then drive somewhere or take an extra day off. It's just so I can be somewhere during the day. If you're gonna do this, I suggest doing that before. If not, then make it work. But for me, I benefited out of it. So the next thing that you want to do is your modules. And I think the modules helped me out when it came to interviewing time, because there's a lot of lingos that you have to learn, and principals are going to expect you to know these words. Some of them might be like, okay, hey, he knows these, and some, you're the 16th interview that I've done today, they've all used that same word. So they might not be impressed, but like I said, it's better for you to know those words than not to know those words. I was about halfway through my modules when I did my interviews. I did pretty okay. Just so you know, when you start going into this in the teaching world, there's a lot of acronyms, right? There's the STR, which is Science to Teach, reading, SOE, Statement of Eligibility, the PPR, which I don't know what the PPR is. I probably should, because that's the next exam that I should be taking. I think word professionals in there. Don't get caught up with all of that. Probably the first thing that you might want to know is SOE, which is the Statement of Eligibility. Once you do those 3 things that I've told you previously, you'll get a Statement of Eligibility, and then that's what you can start using to tell schools that, hey, you've been approved to teach. You can start doing interviews before you're done with all of those, right? So you can start getting, if I believe April, or even maybe a little bit sooner than April, they're starting to do interviews. Job postings are starting to come out, so you can do that as early as that. Yeah, so like you don't have to have all three of those things. Just be honest and say, hey, these are the things that I have done. These are the things that I haven't done. There's a way where you can print off your transcript. It's just good to have that on hand and saying, hey, like, look, I've done X amount of observations. I'm either done or I need to do more. Just to let the principals know, like, hey, I'm actively preparing myself for the next teaching year. I did an interview and it was shared to me that they're like, hey, I have some people who applied and they have done nothing. They have done nothing to move forward in this. One of the things that they said was that their reasoning on why they haven't started was because, like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to get into teaching. I just want to get a job first before I put the money into investing in it. It kind of communicates something different. It does communicate maybe lack of passion. Do not be discouraged. That is one thing that I tell you, do not be discouraged. Was in a Facebook community and a lot of people were being discouraged. My experience was actually the opposite, but people do need teachers, right? And so if they didn't pick you, it's not because of you, it's probably because you probably weren't a right fit for that school. It could be just kind of like the chemistry. It could be maybe it might be competence and it might be character, but I think chemistry is a lot of it. They want to make sure that you're going to mesh well with the rest of the team. Them not offering you a job probably did you a favor. So don't be discouraged. That's one advice that I would probably give just during the interviews. Some of my goals for my contents that I want to share is this is my personal goal. I want to get 5 contents out of the way, right? So I'm going to take my 4 through 8 science, 7 through 12 science. I want to do a content for just chemistry. It's going to be specifically geared for chemistry because I do eventually want to teach AP chemistry. I do know American Sign Language, and that's another one that I think that I would love to teach and just teach people about the deaf community and just bringing more awareness about the deaf community. I'm very passionate about that. And so that is one thing I would like to do. And another one, I think I want to do probably either biology, like doing a focus just on biology, just because I would like to teach AP biology. I would like to teach a class on forensic science and, just kind of bring more to the table. And so those are my goals. And hopefully, just kind of see what happens. That's just I'm just very goal driven, and that's just something that I want to do. So about the interviews, what I personally did, and I'll probably make a separate video about this, but I'll just kind of hit some bullet points. Practice, right? Practice. This is so dumb, right? You hear people like, oh, practice in front of the mirror, like sometimes I kind of just read some of these questions and just kind of read it under my breath. If you're super nervous, I think the more nervous you are about your interviews, I think the more you probably need to do it out loud. Public speaking is making a video, so public speaking is not an issue for me. So I just kind of like worked on getting the answers that I wanted to answer certain questions, right? Because you don't want to become robotic. You don't want to be like, memorizing, reading your questions like, I want this job because I love kids. You just want to be passionate about it. So just most definitely practice, build a portfolio. I probably spend a lot more time on my portfolio than anything, but those are some things that you're sending to your principals. I don't know if they read any of them prior to me getting there, but whenever I did my interviews, there was only one principal out of 5 interviews, only one of them who actually took the time, read it, asked me questions about my portfolio. And so make sure you're not copying and pasting. Make sure you know what you're talking about because they will ask you. You might get this one that's going to ask you. Make sure you know what you're putting in there. If you're going to use these words like differential, scaffolding, all these teacher lingos, make sure that you, 1, know what it means, and then 2, just like what you're talking about, because more likely you probably will be asked, right? Do your research. Do the research on the schools. Is it important to you to teach the certain demographics that they have, right? Maybe like low income students, or just like, hey, like I want to be at this school, get some information about their core values, their mission statement. Read their mission statement. Try to find their mission statement. There was actually one school that I couldn't find their core values. I couldn't find their mission statements. It was really hard to find versus all these other websites. And for me, I'm like, man, like other schools, bam, right in the middle, right? And so this one, you had to really dig for it. And one I did have to dig, and the other one I just could not find. And so I'm like, man, if this school doesn't have a mission statement, if it doesn't have core values, or if that's not important to them, they either one, aren't living them out, or two, maybe they're a school with no ambition. And maybe that's not the case, right? But when I read their website, that's what communicated to me. And so that one actually helped me narrow down certain schools. So make sure you do your research, right? YouTube helped me so much in just studying and prepping for the interviews and for content exams. So that's kind of my experience. Like I said, I probably will do some more YouTube videos, just kind of exactly like what my portfolio look like. Most importantly, I'm not a professional. This is like my first go around. And so I kind of want to give people more options, more opportunities to gain information. And most definitely, if you guys are a second, third, fourth, fifth year, 10-year, 15-year teacher, if you have any words of wisdom, any advice for first day, first year, please share. Like I said, I am not by any means a know-all. I just want to share my experience and just kind of make it relevant for somebody. If you have any words of wisdom, man, like most definitely drop it in the comments below. If you're a teacher, what is your favorite school supply that every year you have to get? That is the first school supply that you want. Yeah, post that in the below as well. Thanks guys, I appreciate you watching, and we'll get some more videos.